Yeah, I wanted to give you guys some of my backstory in case you guys are curious. Kind of what led me to some of the conclusions that even formed Pasture Fowler is mainly about convictions about food quality and how healing food can be to your body if it's grown well and it is nutrient dense and free of pesticides or herbicides or anything of that sort. But what kind of got me to that conclusion was when I was 13 or 14, my mom was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and that kind of led me through a big journey of not only dealing with journeying with somebody with cancer for a significant portion of your life, but also wanting to know what causes cancer, what's going on in the world and the environment that leads to some of those things, especially with somebody as young as my mom was. I think my mom was in her early 30s. So that didn't seem right to me. I didn't want more people I loved to get cancer, and I didn't want for myself to get cancer. A big part of my journey after my mom's cancer is faith slowly began to become a big deal to me. And the more I read scripture, the more I start to view creation as a gift. And how do we live in creation as a gift and steward it well, husband it well, and lead it towards flourishing. And the typical human story hasn't always been, good stewardship. It's been a lot of exploitation, not a lot of forethought for the future. And I think some of my heart behind how faith connects this to me is how do you raise a chicken in a way that respects how God made it, and how do you interact with soil in a way that respects it as a gift from creation and keep building upon it rather than taking away from it. So that eventually put me on a huge track towards learning about regenerative farming, just how to farm in a way that's not the typical approach America uses, with using glyphosate to spray over the vegetables so you can be more productive, or versions of animal husbandry that doesn't have to use a lot of drugs or foods or feed that is used with those bad farming techniques. So I started really learning that quality of your food matters, and even just some of the environmental stuff that's going on. Definitely fact check me, but my understanding is when somebody sprays for glyphosate, it has a 2-mile radius. So if you live near somebody who's spraying, you're being exposed to one of the highest correlation causes of cancer, and you are also consuming it in your food, whether it be your meat or your vegetables or your fruit. And I just think this is a significant issue going on in the world, that we need to start looking into different farming avenues of how can you create a better life for the animals, how can you raise agriculture better in a scalable fashion to feed the world, using different methods, and they're out there. Something else that really formed my imagination growing up was my mom's favorite show in the world is Little House on the Prairie, and she has every season on DVD. I've watched every episode with her, and those are really fond memories for me. And even after her cancer diagnosis, that was kind of her safe place or place of comfort. Was we would throw on Little House on the Prairie, get some snacks, and all cuddle up on the couch and watch a couple episodes of Little House on the Prairie. And it took me a while to figure out how much that actually formed my imagination about what I wanted out of life, and how I wanted to raise my family, and how I wanted to be a part of my community. But anyway, somewhere on the journey, I started being really familiar with Wendell Berry, Joel Salatin, the Weston A. Price Foundation, a lot of them about regenerative agriculture or some of the agriculture issues going on in the world. But especially Wendell Berry, he has a book called Jay per Crow that just really connected with me on what it means to live in community with people, and agriculture is a big part of that for us, to all depend on each other, belong to each other, and to have a community that's, I depend on you for this service, or this part of my diet, or for this vocation I need you. And I think that's a big part of what needs to happen to bring back community to Logan. So that's some of my heart behind why I'm really into types of agriculture that build soils rather than take from soils. Typical farming tends to take from the bank account, but correct animal usage or proper animal usage is the key way to actually build fertility in soils so your vegetables are more nutrient dense. And that's part of the heartbeat behind the chicken tractor, is you're controlling fertilization across fields. So that's some of my heartbeat, and I hope you guys connect with it.